it's really hard. Number one, we've been making Filipino movies, and of course we know our local audience, but it's really hard to penetrate the international market where people would want to see your film. So we were excited when there were interested territories that wanted to get Buybust. No? So it started with North America, and we were happy na. And then eventually we moved on to other countries. And of course, masaya kami. Well, mainly it's designing the action sequences. Of course, it's not just about thinking of the action sequences, but really designing it and making sure that it's safe for everyone. If you look at how complicated the fight scenes were, it involved not just two actors doing a fist fight, but it's a mix of crowds, people. There's other elements like the rain, there's lightning stuff. So it's really not easy to put it together. The feeling of being trapped inside a place happened to me while I was shooting On the Job 1. I was in a place in Caloocan, and we were in the middle of a slum area, and there was a drunk guy who was trying to pick a fight with someone, and I realized that if it's gonna break loose, I wouldn't know how to get out of the place, because going in, I can't remember the alleyways that I went through. So that got me really scared, and that stuck in my head. And I was thinking, that's a really good movie to make. And eventually it became Buybust. There were several requirements to this film. Number one is she has to be physical. If you look at the roof sequence, we wouldn't have been able to pull it off if it wasn't for Anne. Because that whole scene was probably 1.5 kilometers each take. We did the scene for 3 days with 5 rehearsals, 3 days, 57 takes. So on one night, she would do 16 to 20 takes per night. So that's 20 kilometers every night of takes. So it's not easy. So I think the main requirement was that whoever it is we were gonna cast has to be physically fit. And then someone who's willing to train for 6 months just to learn the rudiments of martial arts. And then, of course, she has to be a star. I'm currently doing On the Job 2. And then, where I'm about to start Darna. We're doing pre-production for Darna. Buybust is still going to make the rounds in other territories like Japan, New Zealand. You know. I'm attending a few more film festivals. There's one in Germany. There's one in Macau. Buybust is still showing, is gonna show in France na festival, Etrang Festival, and then Sitges in Spain. Over the years, there's been a trend. It's called minimalism, and it invaded print media, advertising, even design, that everything has to be minimal. But I think creativity is being able to get out of trends and think up of maybe new things, or maybe reimagine old things and come up with a better, newer, fresher take on something. A lot of times we go autopilot in this day and age of instant gratification. I mean, everyone's deadlines are like in 2 hours, even film reviews. After they watch the film, they don't have time to study it because they need to immediately review it because tomorrow they need to print it. I think it's essential that you don't take ideas on face value, but to look at it from another direction, from several directions, before deciding which idea you'd go for. So same with filmmaking, same with for advertising maybe. That whatever first idea that you have, let it go, because almost always that's the one that everyone has thought of. And don't be scared to try out old stuff and reuse it in a fresher way, because a lot of times creativity is often judged by it needs to be avant-garde, it needs to be groundbreaking, but sometimes it's just reusing old things and being aware of old classics, accepted norms, and reusing it, reimagining it into something better.